It's Saturday morning and I need to write 2 chapters by the end of the weekend in order to meet my deadline. If you're new here, I'm Katie. I'm a writer based in York in the UK. I'm currently drafting a horror novel. This is my creepy, gothic, kind of folk horror style novel. I would say it's Yellowjackets meets Shirley Jackson. It's set in the Yorkshire moors in a big house where this all-women commune have been living. It's all about a strange woman that's raised there and who is left behind when it all falls apart. I promised myself I would finish this draft by the end of the summer. Technically, my deadline is the end of September, which isn't really the end of summer, but that's what I'm going with. Now the problem is to do that I need to write 2 chapters a week, and I haven't written it over a week because if you haven't noticed, and if you've seen my other videos, I've moved. I'm in a new place. This house is incredibly chaotic still. I don't have a washing machine that's working. I don't have the ability to cook. I don't have lots of furniture. I don't have a chair. I don't have a dining table. I don't have so many things. And what I do have is a lot of boxes that I need to unpack, but I'm pausing all of this for the weekend so that I can get some writing done. We have some other plans this weekend that I'm going to have to fit everything around, but the rest can wait. For now, I'm going to go into the garden because it's the one place I have some furniture where I can sit and I can work. It's a lovely day. I'm going to take my cup of tea, I'm going to do my journaling, I'm going to get all my thoughts out, and then we're going to start. I can't tell you how long I've wanted my own garden or outdoor space to write in. Buying this little garden set, the sofa and the table, was the first thing me and my partner wanted to do just so that we could come out here and work. I actually started by dumping all the thoughts I had about my book while I was away. So as I mentioned, I hadn't written in 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. I'm not sure how many days it was in the end. So I just had this buildup of ideas and thoughts and things that might be edits to make later and changes to consider, and it can be really overwhelming having all this floating in your head, so I find just getting it down on paper so helpful. And then I did my journaling for the morning. I like to set my intentions for the day. I should have done this when I first woke up, but again, I'm a bit rusty. I haven't journaled in a while, so I just needed an extra minute to get into that. And then I got into writing. I was really surprised that I was able to jump in. I think by dumping my ideas down, I just got really immersed into the world again and was so excited to actually write it down and get started and get stuck into some scenes. So it went quite well in the end. I'm surprised by how much I wrote and how focused I became. I really thought that would be the difficult thing. I really thought the biggest problem I would have is being able to focus after so much time away from writing. I do think it's a muscle, and the more you write, the better you get at doing it for long stretches of time. So obviously taking a break makes it so much harder to come back. Coming back to writing is one of the most intimidating things, but as soon as you start, it just gets so much easier, and I'm really glad I took the plunge today. And I think by coming online and sharing my writing journey and giving you guys updates while I'm writing, it really makes me feel accountable to you guys. Like, you're not giving me pressure, but I want to show up and I want to show you guys that I'm still writing, that I'm still working on the book, and that I'm making progress. It's like really important to me that I show up. And writing can be so isolating, and it's such an independent activity that finding a way to share it with other people, even if you don't want to share your actual words that you're writing, is really great. I've benefited from it a lot, and I've met lots of other people who are writing and posting their work online or posting updates about their work, and I love it so much. I love seeing other people and their progress and how they're getting on and what they're thinking about, and I just love talking about writing. So this is partly me going off on a tangent talking about how much I love posting videos about writing and how it's been so enriching for my writing process and my writing journey so far. It's just gotten really windy out here, so I'm hoping that the sound's okay. That was good. It was better than I expected. I started journaling again, and I hadn't done it in a really long time. I've experimented with things like morning pages and having a diary, and while they can work for me for a short time, I kind of struggled to keep that momentum going. but I found this planner by Papier, I'm not sure how you say it. You check in twice a day where you write your daily intentions in the morning and then you check in again in the evening. I found this really helpful for when I'm overwhelmed and I just want to simplify and streamline my day. If you don't know, I'm a freelance designer, so I work for myself. Quite often I've got a lot going on and it can be difficult to arrange my day around my deadlines and other things that I want to do. Obviously, making videos and writing and just other life commitments. Again, because of moving, I haven't done this in a week, so I did this today and I think it's helped set me up right. And then I looked at my last chapters. I didn't read them in full because I didn't want to get into kind of an editing mindset and start noticing things I want to change and start fiddling, because that's definitely a trap I fall into, and I'm really trying to stop doing that just while I'm drafting, just so that I can get to the end. I actually love editing, so it's really hard not to do it, but that's not the priority right now. I had a look at my plan for the next 2 chapters and I dumped all my thoughts down on paper, and I feel like I've got some fun ideas for some of the more specific, granular, concrete detail that I didn't include in my plan because I hadn't really got to that point. And those are the sorts of things that I can get really hung up on while I'm writing. So I'm hoping it will make the whole process a bit more seamless. I can just plow on through and I won't be stuck wondering, what does this room look like? Or what's something specific about a new character we're meeting that can help us remember them. Just really idiosyncratic details that make writing really fun for me. That's the stuff that I love coming up with while I'm writing. But I thought if I kind of came up with it first, it might help the process go a bit quicker. I did actually start doing some writing, so I made a little bit of a dent in the first chapter. I don't know how many words I've written. I wrote 483 words. So that's good. I'm going to go find a quiet spot inside and carry on writing. My partner's very kindly let me use his desk for writing, which is nice because I think it is just a bit too blowy and noisy outside. I don't think you can hear, but there's like sometimes a siren's going off or there's something else going on and it's just really not helping me focus. I think normally I would be able to focus through it, but I don't have anything to listen to because, as I said, do not have internet and I haven't downloaded anything because I didn't think that far ahead. So I just need like the peace and quiet to really get into it because it has been so long. So I'm just already struggling to focus a little bit. So yeah, now I have an actual desk that I can sit at and write.
I feel quite lucky that the scene that I'm returning to is such a pivotal scene in the story. It is the moment where my main character
is growing up too fast, and that's not something that is like a sudden change. But if you were to point to any
one moment in their youth, this is probably that moment. So it's steeped in so much meaning for me. And when I'm writing this scene and these chapters that are set in the past, because the book does alternate between the past where my main character is a child and a teenager, and then it goes to the present where my main character is, I haven't fully decided, but I think late 20s, early 30s, that kind of time frame. And for me, writing these past chapters, they are steeped in so much nostalgia and regret and longing and these mixed up feelings that you can have looking back on pivotal moments from your younger years that you didn't really understand the meaning of until later. And that's definitely what this scene is within this book. The echoes and repercussions of how this scene unfolds can be felt for many years afterwards, and it can be felt in different scenes. So I'm really excited to get this scene down, and then also it's making me excited to write future scenes that are going to feel the effects of what happens here. I'm starting to feel it come together and I've got so much more to write, but that's such an exciting feeling and I'm really hoping I can carry that through and help me get to the end of this draft.
So I ended up writing quite a lot, and my total at the moment is about 2,500 words, which I'm really happy with because it was slow at first. And when I was sat outside, I really didn't think it was going to go well today, but I have started and I feel like I'm getting into the groove. I'm stopping now because I'm about to start a scene that I just know what that's going to be, and I've written some notes for it. So I think it will be something that will be really good to come back to. We said that we were going to go out today, so we're going to pop into York and we're going to have a little look around. There's a few things I need to buy, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do some more writing later on today. So I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. Hello, welcome to my slightly chaotic living room. Again, this is the best angle I can film from because there's just so much stuff everywhere and I do not have the mental or physical capacity to do anything about it. But I do want to write. I had a really cute day in the city and I had lots of thoughts about my book. I had lots of dialogue spark in my brain and I texted myself it, so I'm hoping that can help me get started into this scene. I am really glad I left myself this scene to write because I think I can do a good job of it now. And the scene takes us to the end of the chapter and it ends in kind of a cliffhanger-y way. So I'm hoping that'll give me momentum to start the next chapter. So that's the plan. Finish this scene and therefore finish the chapter and then start the next chapter. The start of the next chapter is the immediate aftermath of this scene. So I'm going to start that as well. And then hopefully it'll be easier for me to pick up and start tomorrow and then finish both chapters. Like, I really think it could happen. I wasn't sure this morning, but now I feel like, well, why not? I'm actually going to change the setup because this is just awful. I feel like I don't know how to film in this house. I don't know like my angles and I don't know, like nothing looks like how it's going to look anyway, so I can't even figure it out and think, yeah, well then I'll film from this angle all the time. I know that's not helpful and that probably doesn't mean anything to you guys, but if you do film your own videos, you will know that it is really helpful to know what your angles are and where you can put a camera up in your house and it looks okay and the light isn't terrible. And for some reason I've just chosen this like bird's eye view for this shot and I don't know why. This scene ended up taking such a super unexpected turn. I thought it was going to go one way and I had my plot points written out. I'd planned kind of the choreography of the scene, and then before I knew it, a character who was introduced but very much on the periphery became like a central character within the scene, and they had a really interesting interaction with my main character. It's the first time they're meeting. They end up like, it gets very intense very quickly and it really sets the tone, I think, for how their relationship will now go, because a big part of their relationship is how they just got off on the wrong foot. I didn't have a concrete plan for how I was going to pull it off, but I've obviously just figured it out. I don't know if it was in my subconscious and it just came out, but I definitely knew while I was writing the scene that I wasn't going off on a meaningless tangent, that it was very important to include it now, and I'm really glad I did. Okay, hopefully that's okay. I've just balanced my camera very precariously on top of a box, so hopefully it will last and not fall over while I can just film this last little bit. But I think I'm done for writing for the day. I'm so tired. I think the exhaustion of moving has caught up with me. Going into the city was so nice. It was really lovely just to get out of a very chaotic space. The city was very busy, so it was a different chaotic space, but it was really nice and refreshing. I think just walking around has just made me realise how tired I am. I completely forgot how mentally taxing moving is. Kind of thought, oh, I'll just be moving boxes and I'll be doing physical work, so it will just be taxing in that way and I'll be able to write. And even though I didn't have time during the week to write, I thought, well, I'll be able to pick up writing. My camera just decided to stop recording, so sorry if that was a bit janky. So yes, I finished writing for the day. I finished the chapter and I did write 100 words of the next chapter. So that brings my day total to 4,000 words. I haven't written that much in a day in so long. I'm definitely not a binge writer. I do know that when I haven't written for a while and when I get back into it, sometimes I can have these big writing spurts, and I was kind of hoping that would happen, and I'm really glad it did. I don't think I'll be able to write 4,000 words tomorrow by any means. It's usually like a one-off thing, and I can't keep up the same kind of level of writing. I think the scenes and the chapters chapter build up and then I can pour them out, but then it needs more time to refill and then I can do it again. But I don't really like having a writing routine like that. I'm really hoping to get back into an almost daily routine. I'm not somebody that can write every day typically, but I was speaking to my friend Jessica George about this. She is New York Times bestselling author, so she is a super expert in this area and she writes every day. I was asking her, how do you do that and how do you stop like doubt creeping in? Just how do you keep going? How do you do that every single day? And she writes by hand, and she said sometimes she will just write a line or write a little bit here and there, and it made me realize that I've been saying and telling myself that I haven't written in over a week, but I guess that's not true. I've been texting myself dialogue, I've been having little ideas, or I've kind of realized details and made decisions to do with certain characters and certain locations, and it's things like coming up with that specific concrete granular detail that I talked about earlier. So I might realize, oh, this character, they're not 19, they are a young child, and that actually makes so much more sense for their character, and it has this knock-on effect. Like I'm rounding out some characters that have been on the periphery, and the same can be said for the location. There's certain locations within the main location that I'm figuring out. So I spoke about this earlier, but it's set in this big grand manor house in the middle of the Yorkshire moors. It's very isolated, and it is one location, and we spend the whole book in this location, but there is like a little woodland, there's a river, there's a walled garden, there's the house with lots of different rooms and other parts to it. So figuring out how they all kind of knit together and figuring out the layout and specific details about them has been really fun, but it's that sort of thinking where I need time away. So I've been doing all of that in the past week and a half while moving, while being busy with everything else. And yeah, I think I need to be kinder to myself to remind myself that that's still writing. I know I'm not getting words down necessarily when I'm making decisions like that. You know, it might be like a description or something that I've texted myself or put in my notes app. It doesn't feel like writing, but it is, and it's been really helpful, and I think that's why I've been able to write so much now. I'm definitely trying to have a bit of radical acceptance of my very unpredictable writing process. If you've watched my videos, you know that I've tried lots of different things. I love trying different ways of working, and I love figuring out how I work best. And writing's so interesting because even authors who have published lots of books will say that, you know, you don't learn how to write a book and then you can just write lots of books. You kind of need to figure out how to write each book individually, and the way you write one book will not be the same way as the way you write another book. It kind of demands different things of you. This book feels quite demanding. I've worked on it on and off for lots of years, and this to me feels like not the last push, but it feels like a big push to get this draft finished. And I do think when I finish it, it's going to feel like a very specific milestone in my writing journey, because it's really important to me that I see it through to the end. And I've grown so much during this project. And I've got a couple of other projects in the background that I've kind of written 20,000 words of or 30,000 words of. And I think by finishing this project that's been on the back burner for so long, it's going to give me the encouragement and the motivation to finish those other projects, because this is the project that I've been unable to finish for so long, and I love it. My heart is in this book, and it's so weird and it's so gross at times, and it's really dark, and I hope it's a bit funny in places. It's very me. I think people that know me very well will read it and say, yes, this is so you. Not that it's me or I'm in the book or like it's, you know, a self-insert with the main character. It's definitely not. I've had to switch to my phone, so I'm so sorry if the camera quality has just gone downhill, and the audio quality probably. The camera literally flashed up that the memory card was full and then died. So it's done in 2 ways. Feels very much a representation of how I am at the moment. I feel so unbelievably tired. I know I've said this. I will probably say it again in this video, so apologies in advance. I had a good writing day. I did lots of other things. I went outside. It was a successful day all in all. I feel a little bit like I'm getting back on track. Fingers crossed it will continue. I do have a feeling that I'm going to binge write this weekend, and then I'm not going to be able to do it again right away. But that's okay. I'm definitely used to my process being a very ebb and flow, picking it up when I can, making it fit my life. And if you're an unpublished, unedited writer like I am, you know, you're probably doing the same thing where you're fitting writing in as and when you can. And while I love routine in other areas of my life, I don't know that having a strict writing routine really works for me, but I'm very much enjoying my weekend of writing. I actually didn't really have time to write this morning, but I woke up, I got ready. We had to go out at a certain time, and I thought, I have about 15 minutes. I'm just going to go and write. So I tried not to overthink it. I got my laptop and I just started writing. And it was so helpful that I had left my writing in a place where I could just pick it up. So we were in a scene, I was in the middle of the scene, and I could just keep going. And it kind of just flowed from there. And I think having the urgency of needing to go out, of only having a certain amount of time, stopped me from overthinking it and being a bit too precious about my writing. And I just threw it down. So it was definitely very rough, definitely a first draft. But I'm really glad I got it done. I'm really glad that I made some progress. I think you do just have to find little pockets of time sometimes. I get really tempted by the idea of, I won't write, and then I will take a day off, or I will devote an entire weekend to writing. And it just never seems to go to plan. And even if it does go to plan and I have that uninterrupted time, I find it really intimidating and overwhelming to sort of have this expectation that I'm going to get so much writing done in this short space of time. And I kind of have done that this weekend, but I think having other things going on and little jobs and things I had to do around writing really helped me find that focus and the urgency and just get it done when I had the time to do it.
Hello, I'm back on the floor in my living room. I think it's the only room that is somewhat usable at the moment. Not that I can sit on my sofa, but it's just not as piled up with boxes as other rooms. We actually had to go back to our old flat this morning just to get some things and sort some stuff out. And it meant that I could go and have breakfast at my favourite cafe. So that was nice. And obviously got a bit of writing done this morning. I think I can finish this last chapter today and then I will have met my deadline. So I'm really excited. So far, I've written 4,682 words, which I'm really happy with. I knew I wasn't going to be able to write another 4,000 words today. So I've definitely noticed that the pace has slowed down. Like this morning, I think I only got 200, 300 words down or something like that. I don't know. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm going to get my laptop. I'm going to do that last bit of writing and then I'm going to catch up with you guys.
You can't tell, but I was so excited and having so much fun writing because I was so proud of how much progress I'd made over the weekend. And it's definitely not something I can do every single weekend. But I will say that I really enjoyed having other things going on around writing this weekend. And I think they were things that really complemented the writing process. So I wasn't doom scrolling. I haven't really been on my phone very much since I've been moving. I haven't been watching anything. So my brain's kind of emptied of outside influence and other stories. And there's so much science to suggest that when we let our minds wander and we get bored, that's when we're the most creative and we have ideas. And even though I wasn't bored when I was walking around the city or when I've been moving boxes, actually no, I was very bored when I was moving boxes. The thrill of it definitely wore off. I was so excited to move, and the moving process, I forgot how dull it is. But my mind would wander and I would think about my story and I would think about the next bit of writing I need to do. And by breaking up the writing into smaller, manageable chunks throughout the weekend, I really was able to stay focused and lock in and just get the next bit done. And also the trick of ending something on a bit of a cliffhanger, not for the reader, but for me. So I'm ending mid-scene when I know what's going to come next, so that when I next go to write, I don't have to think, well, where am I? What have I got to write? And I just can get stuck in so much quicker. These past chapters are so fun to write and they're so immersive and the atmosphere is so interesting, and it's when the commune that I'm writing about is at their height, so they're doing all their weird stuff. It's lots of like strange goings on. My main character is new there, so it's all very alien and weird to her, and I can just really get the vibe of the book across, and it's just, oh, I love it so much. And I think I'm going to definitely write the past chapters. I technically need to go and write a chapter in the present if I was going to write this book in order. And I do really struggle to not write the book in order. It's like my brain won't let me write the book out of order, even though I know I technically could. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me, is to keep writing the past chapters, to have faith that it will all work out, and worry about the present day chapters later.
I did it. I have finished my 2 chapters. It is 3:30 on Sunday. I think that's pretty good going. Technically, I'm still a week behind my deadline because I meant to do 2 chapters a week and I missed over a whole week. So I might be 2 weeks behind. I honestly don't know. The day's been blurring together. I'm so behind. But I got 2 chapters written in a weekend. I think that's amazing. The second chapter didn't take me as long in the end. The final word count for chapter 5 is 1,962 words, and I could have dragged it out more, but I think the key to this draft is just keeping to the main plot points and, writing description, doing the character work, doing those things where I can, but not making myself suffer and make the whole process really slow down if I'm getting stuck with those things. So I think this chapter could just end up being a short chapter. Doesn't matter. I reached the end. I've got the chapter to where it needed to be, and I'm ready to write the next one. That means my grand total for the weekend is 5,862 words, which was amazing. I don't think I've written that much in a weekend in a really long time. I feel like my writing's improved a lot in the past year or two, and I think with that, my writing has slowed down. So this probably is the most I've written in that whole kind of era of my writing, if that makes sense. I used to be able to write loads and loads and loads in a weekend or in a day, and I do wish I could get back to that. I don't know whether there's an argument for quality over quantity, because I do think my writing is stronger now. The other reason I think this worked really well this weekend was that I was writing 2 chapters that were in the same timeline. So my book is dual timeline. We have a present day sort of timeline, and then we have some set in the past, and the book kind of alternates between the two. Sometimes the book will spend a couple of chapters in the past, these 2 chapters were both in the past, and I think that makes it easier to write, because if I'm writing 2 chapters a week and I'm going between timelines, it's a lot to process, a lot to get back into, especially under a tight deadline. So I'm kind of thinking that I should write this book non-chronologically. I know lots of writers feel strongly about whether they write the book in order or if they write out of order. My friend Jessica George, who I mentioned the other day, I know that she writes out of order. I've been talking to her about writing a lot recently. I think now's the time to try that, because I really feel the momentum for this past storyline, and I don't really want to change gears and go back to the present. I also feel like I haven't figured out the present as much as I figured out the past. The past is so nailed down for me that I feel like it really happened, like it's actual history. So that's probably what I'm going to do next time, is pick the next past chapters and give them a go. I think I'm also not going to punish myself if I get stuck somewhere and I decide to work on another part of the book, because I think that will also help. The idea with setting the goal of 2 chapters a week was to help me move through the story, making progress, hitting all my plot points, but without being tied to a word count, because as you've seen, my chapters are varying word counts, they're a little bit unpredictable. I'm not always sure when I'm planning how long the chapter will be. I don't know if that's a skill that I just lack, or if other people, are able to predict how long their chapters will be. I haven't figured it out. So that's one of those things I kind of figure out as I go, and it seems to be working. I don't think I'm writing excessively, and I don't think I'm skipping over too much stuff, kind of letting the story tell me how long and how short different parts need to be. So this is somebody just walking past. I don't have curtains yet. So I don't think they looked, but I obviously am filming in my front room. I hope you're enjoying the yellow, by the way. It's very yellow. It's much nicer in person. I have shown a few people and I get very mixed reactions. Some people love it and some people don't love it. I am going to keep it as it is for a while. I'm going to style the room and put all my things in it and then decide. I do quite like it. I didn't like it at first, but feel free to let me know what you think of my yellow room. I'm going to say it's more orangey, mango, yellow coloured. It's not mustard. I hope it doesn't look mustard on camera because that'll make me sad. So I think that brings us to the end of today's video. Next time I'm going to be carrying on with this book. I'm probably going to be working on the past chapters, like I said, trying to get back on track. We're doing 2 chapters a week.
Hello again, it's voiceover Katie. I didn't realise but the camera had actually stopped recording, very rudely interrupting me saying goodbye, but that was it for the video. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye!